connection with others, relational experiences can be empowering and fueling from the outside in. Scattering, serving others as a group, at its core is a connective experience. Why scatter on a global level?
I started out wanting to sponsor financially. It just wasn't enough. Like, I needed to get my hands in there, and I'm a teacher, so I wanted to go see the kids, play with the kids, help the kids.
I really value being pushed outside of my comfort zone. I learned that when I moved to Montana, and that was just like a tiny step. And then I heard about Ecuador, and I was like, oh, this is like a huge step outside of my comfort zone because I'd never been out of the country. I want to learn things about myself and the world, and I know I will if I'm completely outside of what makes me comfortable, and so I went for it.
I've been praying for a mission to Ecuador for at least 2 years. I love the Grand Street Theater, and I noticed your sign out front, and I just couldn't believe my eyes when there said this was the last weekend you could sign up for the Ecuador trip.
When it came up, I just thought this is the perfect pairing of two things. I've always wanted to explore, and I want to go be a part of serving others, and it also didn't seem incredibly preachy to me, and I feel like that's super important because I don't understand their culture yet. I don't know how to talk to them, but getting in there and just simply loving seemed like a great call.
Something I always wanted to do. I always had the excitement and then never did anything with that. So Ecuador came up and I thought, oh, I'm gonna go on that, I'm gonna do that. And I was super excited, super nervous.
Whether it is the long hours of travel that produce depth of conversation, or the side-by-side work with local Ecuadorians and their families to better their living conditions, the activity is easy to put into words. For example, build a house for a family in poverty, assist a community recovering from earthquake damage, roofing the house of a family overwhelmed with physical disabilities and financial challenges. These are the stories that are simple to mention in conversation.
To spend my time in the mud with the kids and playing soccer and learning the words and having that kind of experience with the small kids, that's where I tied in.
You need to wake up 5 in the morning, go bed 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. for 5 days, very hard. People in Ecuador respect this too. And look at you guys working hard, the people make motivation too.
What did you work on?
Bricks.
Bricks.
Washing bricks and
Washing
handing
them?
bricks down into the hole.
I stood on a ladder in a hole and was handed bricks and concrete and handed them to people so they could make a bathroom.
What is the hole for?
A bathroom.
I helped to wet bricks and then pass them to her so that she could pass them to the guys that were in the hole.
Carried buckets of cement down a ladder.
Encouraged children to pick up trash.
I sifted some sand and got super buff.
Carried some water, and then I sifted the sand for days.
And it was for the concrete, right?
They're making concrete. We're making good concrete.
No, dude, you're getting swole. Hola. Oh, look at these guys. Good job. Bueno trabajo. Royo down there, you got an assembly line, you gotta bring in the cement.
It's made me happy, made me need to go more energy. Same with you guys have a lot of energy because you never stop. Never say no. Okay, let's go clean something. Go take the garbage. Say, okay, good. Never complain for nothing.
You did a lot of hard work today.
Yes.
But we're going back.
What's that?
We're going back, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I hope so.
We can't get enough.
Okay, what is next, Noreen? Noreen say, oh my gosh, this is already finished. I need to look at something for next for these people, you know?
Even in their poverty, they took pride in their home. No matter how simple it was, they still took pride in their homes. You know, you just saw solid core values in the people themselves, and I thought they were just a beautiful group of people.
What kind of relational connections did you make down there?
Tons. Like Luis, I remember this little boy, Luis. Some kids were very warm and very open, but Luis was a little more standoffish, and by the end of the day, he was dancing and piggyback riding on me and jumping on the wheelbarrow and going on wheelbarrow rides. Just seeing barriers being broken down. Andres was another guy, really big guy, the guy that always mixed the cement.
He was so filled with emotion, touching his chest saying, I'm so happy, I'm so blessed. Thank you for this opportunity. Like, I just feel really happy, really good to have been able to help my countrymen.
We found out later that he had tried to commit suicide the year before, but we never knew that. He had drank a bunch of poison and wanted to end his life. And then Noreen offered him a job because everybody was rejecting him because they thought he was basically trash because he wanted to end his life, but she wanted to give him hope. I never knew any of those things. I just knew that like Andres and I like hung out together and laughed and ribbed each other, but I didn't know the language.
We have this massive language barrier. Like, I can ask, how are you in Spanish? And then they can respond, and then I don't know what to say, you know? But even with that, we still had a way to connect through laughter and jokes and dancing and music and just being weird. Like, there's so many more ways to connect.
Nieve, she is our sponsored gal. We got just to try to talk with each other. Finally decided that playing Go Fish worked well for my level of Spanish.
There was a girl down there that was learning English, and apparently down there Justin Bieber's super popular. So she kept asking me about Justin Bieber.
It was more like reading in between the lines and more of the body language and humor and like ribbing each other, and the kinds of things that you do in America with people even knowing the language still transcended into that culture.
The moments of eye contact, the smiles that cross language barriers, the tears of gratitude, the determined gaze of a person that decides to change their life for the better, physically or spiritually. The cross-cultural exchanges that break stigma, gender, and age barriers, giving value to those who perhaps have been treated as less than.
I remember, especially in the first time I made the construction of the house, the guys in Ecuador say, hey, you made the one house in 5 days with 5 women. Usually the women over there is only go cook and take care of kids, no more. It's looking a strong woman working in the concrete, working heavy stuff. I say, wow, not only take care of kids, not only make the food, not only clean the clothes, it's more opportunities, you know. This is make something different too. Open the eyes of these guys. Yeah, for sure.
I think it's definitely like made me slow down more and like appreciate smaller things because they value different things, and you know, it makes you like reevaluate, okay, what do I find important and where do I spend chunks of my time?
Even though it was in really poor conditions, they were so thankful for what they had and like for their families and for us. And to come back and to have people complain about the smallest things like really changed my heart and my mind on how much we should just be thankful for things and not take things for granted.
As a mom, it really affected my heart, my grace with my own kids. I wanted to show them kind of how different we have it here.
Just sort of like the first world problems thing, you tend to go, okay, all right, I get it. Like, this may be a stressful week. This might be hard, but we're not, you know, cleaning up human feces in the back of a home, right? Like I'm working on like hours late on the computer.
We're major consumers and we just want a lot of things, and they really showed me what's important and how you can live really simply but still be really like full in your hearts of love.
You've seen lots of other stuff, and so what happens to me in my day-to-day life is I'm able to take more casually.
I can't take a shower without praising God for warm showers.
We had to spend a ton of time cramped in a van, but I think that was some of the best times like we all had together because we were there and no distractions, and me and Lindsay laughed more than I think I've laughed in a really long time.
I now have the Ecuador team, who I knew maybe by their name at Narrate, maybe by their face, but now we're friends. We've got this incredible thing in common. I feel like I belong more to Narrate than I used to, which is awesome. These trips, when Bob and I do them together, we form memories, we do hard things together, and it brings us closer as we work through that.
I guess I battle with it maybe feeling a little bit selfish, but the stronger connections were with like narrators, with the team. Those are the kinds of connections that I've been trying to make with narrators for 5 years. And yet in Ecuador, in a week, it fast forwarded all of those. And I would recommend anyone to do that just based on that alone.
Narrate Church has a rooted relationship with a specific area and group of people in Ecuador. Since 2012, people from Narrate have invested time, money, and hard labor assisting the under-resourced in Ecuador. For some, these relationships have maintained all these years. Through the physical travel to Ecuador and investment of a week working alongside locals, or through financial sponsorship of persons with disabilities through Families with Heart. Years of empowering relational experiences, both for those doing the investing and those who are invested into.
I think there's a lot of idea and thought behind doing missional work where you almost pity people. It's like, we're going to help you. And I think that for me, it wasn't like that at all. It was like looking side to side, like looking over your shoulder at them, like they're your brothers. You're just coming alongside of them. And in fact, some of these people that were wearing rags have their lives probably more together and have found more joy than people that are wearing name brand things like us. And I think it gives me a different perspective on what true joy really is, and maybe that at times we don't have it, and they do.
So happy I got that opportunity.
Those are things I can look back on and be like, that was incredible.
I would do it again. I'd want Brian to go with me next time to share all those awesome experiences.
You just kind of have to experience it. You can't really tell anyone how great that was. It's probably one of those experiences I'll probably never forget, ever. So I'm glad you guys took me.